Hello. You're welcome to this tutorial, which I actually want to talk about work circle. So, actually, it's good to start with this kind of rig so that you practice just the downside before moving to the upper side, in which I think I'll teach you how to animate that do work circle with rain later in the future. But for now, let's work on this. So, this is the rig we'll be making use of. This is the general root control. This is the root control, so you can actually move it. These are pull vectors, then these for the up and down of the body, then these are just for squash and stretch and the rest. So um so let me on my screen cast key, so you notice the shortcuts. I think it's on, but it's not displaying the shortcuts I'll be using. So okay, it's working. So now the first thing we want to do, okay, let's make sure we set there are many reference online for work circle. So I will advise you to go online, then you search work circle reference. So there's one by Preston Blair. I think it should be this one. So you can actually get these ones. Always make sure you work with reference whenever you want to animate. So in this tutorial, we'll be using this one. So, but like after you've done it for a while, you will actually get used to the old stuff, the or maybe the up and down. So this call contact, as you can see, down, passing pose, up pose, then contact again, because it's like a loop. So this is the one we'll be using. You can actually go online and search for anyone, any work circle reference, then you follow. So considering this now, um, to set up our scene, that's the first thing we should do. I would like to hide this one. Then I want three major screens here. Three major screens. So the first one, sorry, will be this the front and the side view. So let us open vertical. Then let's use this for our front view. Then this one will be our side view. Then I like to separate my controls in another place entirely. So you can hide this, that's navigation and the rest. You can actually hide it. Here, let's hide this controls. That's bone. Then the controls, that's make sure these ones are tick, so it will show on your viewport. So here also I think we can actually hide the bones also. So that's just hide the bone. So the first thing we're going to do, so let's check our the timeline we'll be making use of. So let's move to timeline. So this one, according to Christian Blair, I think he said we can actually make use of that. Uh, we can actually animate on 12. So that will be 1 to 13 will be for the first contact post, then the other one for the second one. So to start up, I think let's since okay, let's think of okay, we want to animate a male walk, but it's actually a general walk circle. So let us move this leg. That's my auto keyframe is on. If you like, you can actually take it off, but I think it's faster making use of auto keyframe. Then let us move these legs closer. Although it's a male walk, but we don't want this kind of like the legs are too far off. So uh, for these, I want to stretch the legs a little bit. So according to the reference, they're supposed to go down a little bit. According to the reference, you go down a little bit. Then this will be totally down. This will be higher. Then the same with this. So going back to this now, the first leg, let's go to our side view. So let's move this leg forward. Then the other one, move it backward. So if the leg can actually still reduce, so we'll be able to stretch the leg. So and again, we should try to avoid overstretching the leg, like maybe moving it to forward in such a way that it's too stretched like this. We should try to avoid it because those are one of the things that actually cause nail pop. So let's move it a little bit. Then remember, we'll still bend the leg according to the reference. Make sure you check the reference for easy movement, transformation, and rotation. Let's just go to global for now. Let's go to global. So um, checking this one out. Let's move closer. So we want to make sure it's almost on top of the green line. So and the second one also, since if you check the reference, there's a foot roll here. So let's roll it up a little bit and also move it back a little bit. Remember, we don't want the legs to be too stretched. So this front can also move it forward a little bit without. Okay, let's move forward. So maybe bend it a little. So that's it for this contact frame. Sorry. So move it. So checking this one out, you can now that's highlight everything. Then we just set a keyframe on all. Then considering that's on frame 13 will be the next contact. So and these they are actually opposites to each other. So you can select all. Then we just copy. I want us to animate from frame 1 to 13 first. Then we just copy and duplicate. That's 225. It's actually more easier. So let us paste flip. So you notice something like this. That's just sliding from one post to another. So the next post now will be the down post. These are the contact posts. Now these are the contact posts, and the next one, the next post we'll be doing now will be the down post. So in which we actually move the hips down more, then the leg will go back more, and let's try to raise the heel more. So you can use your arrow key to go front and back. Then if the front and back is not enough, we can actually still move it back a little bit. So on frame 4, the front leg is also is down already. So just press Alt R, then you move it down totally. Then I think there's a foot roll affecting this. Let us remove the foot roll. That's Alt R. So the foot will be flat on the floor. So after that, that's switching from the first to second now. You can see the difference. Then on frame 7, that will be let's check our reference. That will be the passing post. So I think you move the hips up a little bit. Then this leg will be up. That's our passing position. Then let's come back to this place now. Here, I want this leg to be totally down. Then, then this leg also, we don't want it to maintain the same position. We can actually slide it back a little bit. So you can slide it back a little bit. Then the foot roll, let's remove it totally. So just okay. So now on frame 7, we are still going to remove the foot roll. We don't want any foot roll for now. And that's totally flat. Then this second leg now will be bent. Then we'll raise it up. This down pose may be too down, so let's raise it up a little. So let's switch back and forth. So this one we want there should be drag a little bit, so it shouldn't be forward like this. You can actually bend it as back a little bit, bend it back. So then uh, let's switch back. So we try not to lift this foot up a little too much. So because generally in normal walk cycle, even when you're walking, if you try to note, you don't take your leg like completely off the ground like very well. So just take it off the ground a little bit, not too much. So I don't know why this foot roll is still Alt R. Then you don't want it to be off the ground. So I think that should work now. So then the up pose now. Then checking the reference, you notice the hips has moved up more than this one. So we increase the height. Make sure you don't want the leg too stretched. So go back to the previous one. Then this is the up pose. Then looking at the front leg, can you see the front leg? So that's we'll pose the second front leg in such a way that it shows drag a little bit. Like let's move it up a little, then bang. Want to show drag a little bit. So after that now, when we move to our next pose, so you can now switch from our our that's our pose now. Our poses now. We can now switch between them to check. So after that, I think on our passing pose, I want us to bend this leg a little bit. So if you check so we want to actually bend it. Check your reference, you notice there is a little bend there. So bend this leg a little bit. Then let's check our pose very well. I'm using the arrow key. I don't know why my screencast key is not working. So I'm using the arrow key. So our contact down, passing pose, up pose, then contact. So with this one now, let's introduce our rotation now. This is where some people get stuck when they want to include rotation. So for your frame one, always remember that your hips will actually your hips and buttocks will actually follow the front leg. That's you rotate to follow the front leg. So given let's switch to gimbal up. So that means these are Y now. These are Y axis. So we want to make sure that so sorry let's switch off this navigation. So if you notice now in your normal walk, the hips actually follow the front leg. So what you're going to do is we rotate the Y axis, that's to follow the front leg. So looking at this here, it is 28. So let's just round it up to 26. So let's round it up to 26. Then on frame 4, 26. Sorry, we did not set a keyframe on. That's sorry. That's 26 then. So on this frame, so is 26 too much? No, I don't think it's too much. So on frame 4, we can actually reduce it to maybe 20 or let's say 18. So then you press a key. Then on frame 7 1, I think it should be 0. or we can actually favor the previous one, 18. Then 18. Let's use maybe 4. Then on frame 24, uh, frame 24, we can actually use minus 18. That's minus 18. That's it's already rotating to the other side. Minus 18. That's to favor this leg. Then on frame 20, on frame 13, I think this will go to minus 26. So so on frame 1 it's 26, 18, 4, 0. That's sorry. Let's make it 0 on this place. And here instead of 0, so that want it to increment gradually. So here we'll make it minus 18. Minus 18. So that's for the y rotation. We have 26, 18, 0, minus 18, and 26. Then for our y-axis, our x-axis, now we want to show that's drag. Also, that's we want to show drag, especially when you're going down on the down post, and you can actually take it up a little bit. That's Let us use minus 6. Minus 6. Then on 10, we take it down. Take it down. Like when it's going up, you're dragging it a little bit. So let's use 6. So 4 minus 6. Sorry, I forgot to say the keyframe money. So minus 6, then 6. So I think that's it for the x-axis. Then for the for the z-axis now, some of us may actually think on our passing, maybe because this leg is up, maybe it should be the highest here. No, it should be this leg that's the highest up if you check reference and real life reference. So for this one now, you can actually increase this a little bit in such a way that this one will be raised up. That's You don't want to do it too much. Maybe let's just use 6. That's minus 6. And set a keyframe. I don't know why I have to set a keyframe here every time I change the values. Or if you find that there's another way to avoid that, you can actually tell me, please. So we want to make sure that okay, this is the highest, but we want it to slow into the highest, then slow out of the highest. So since this one is 6 now, we can actually make this 4. That's 4. That's minus 4. Then set your key by pressing I. Then this one we make it minus 4 also. So minus 4, since we want it to slow in, then slow out. So minus 4. Then and these ones we can just give this one to 1. Then this one, let us make it minus 2. So we want to favor the up pose starting from the first pose here. So then we use minus 2. So then set a keyframe. So if we try to play now, so we can see it's actually looking good. So from here we can actually we can start to copy our keyframe that's to frame 25. So we can start from here. Let's highlight all. Then go to our first frame. We copy. That's Control C. And go to frame 25. Then Control Shift V. That's to sorry. I want to put the same value here. So let's just press Control V. So for our feet, we can actually copy the same value. That's the same value for all these ones. That's on our feet. Then we can go to frame 4. That's copy directly from here. So before we start copying everything, let's make sure that okay, maybe there's no penetration that was into the ground. Because if we don't fix it now, we have to fix it for the two legs. So let's press 3. Then we no longer need this. Just press A. So move from frame 1. Then let's step through our keys. That's frame. So I think let's just continue with the copying and paste. Sorry. So this is one of the reasons why we need selection set. You can actually check my tutorials on selection sets. So you only get these things on maybe your post, then you select ones. You don't need to be selecting all every time you need it. So you just copy Control C here, then on frame 16, Control Shift V. That's to paste opposite. So do this. Oh, before you start copying and pasting, let's make sure that we select all. Then we'll make sure keyframe is inserted on all the controls here. So you can just press I. You select all, you press I, then move to this one, you press I, move to press I, you move here. If not, you may have the issue of maybe one key is just slipping, that's moving slowly to another key. So to avoid that, I think it's better off to set the keyframe on hold before copying and pasting. So let's copy it again as frame, then paste. Then on frame 4, you see, check my tutorials on selection set. So you just put all these controls in the selection. You don't need to select them every time you need them. So that's Control C, and on 16 that's Control Shift V. So on 7, Control C, yes, that's Control C, and 19, Control Shift V. Then on frame 10, Control C. Then on frame 22, Control Shift V. So looking at this now, you notice the leg is already doing fine, but if you check to copy and that's paste here, I think there are some we want to be inverse, but some we don't want it to be inverse. So that's why you can just copy and paste inverse, or copy and paste all directly here. So for our x-axis, and now I think we can join. That's it's not showing join. So we can actually go to our graph editor. If you want to learn more about graph editor, I think I already have a video on that. So we just press your home key, then let's move to our X rotation. Let's copy our X rotation. So before that, I forgot something. That's the transformation we failed to do. So because on frame 7, here, look at the weight here. And let me press 1 here. Look at the weight. This leg is lifted. It's not properly distributed here. So the best way to do it is you actually shift this one over. You shift the weight over to this leg a little bit. So it should be almost straight line as to the leg here. So you can shift it a little bit. We don't want to do it too much. So, but we can actually tweak the value here. Let us go to our graph editor. Then you go to your X, that's X location. So make sure this and this is selected. So go to our X location. We press we press home. So here we want our previous keyframes to actually favor this one. So let us move it down. Let's move it down to favor this post. So that it's slow in, then slow out, then increasing speed. So so to start our copy now, okay, let's start from here. So this one now we want to copy, then but we want inverse of this in this place, because okay, on getting to that's frame 19, which is the passing post, you don't want it to favor this side again. You have to invert this in such that it will bend in this direction, not the same direction. So there's a way we can do it. You can actually just copy, then Control C, then go to 16 and Control V. Looking at this one now, it's on 19, but it's still favoring this side. But the way to do it is that uh, you can just select all these keys, then you mirror. Yeah, we can now mirror value over value. Looking at this now, can you see it's now favoring this side? So that's for the X location. Then for the Y location, you want same on as we want it to be the same height. These are Y. Looking at this now, it's going up. We want same height on contact, on this contact, on this contact, and on our down also. We want same down as on 16. It should be down. So we can just copy these values, Ctrl C, and go to your 16, then paste. So we have down on 16, then same on frame that's passing post 19, then up on frame that's 22. Then for our just press home to zoom in to your curves. So for our Y location, we actually don't need any transformation on Y location, so we can just delete it. So on our X rotation, press home button. So for our X rotation, this one is also same. We want it to be same on both sides. So just go to frame 16 and just paste. So on our frame, let's press home to zoom in on our frame and on our that's Y. So here we can just increase this a little bit to favor the contact post. We want our curve to look good, although it shouldn't be at the detriment of your viewport. Make sure you always check the viewport. So we can copy this and paste on frame 22. We want to favor the contact. Then copy frame 7. Then this also copy, just like we are inverting the keys. So that's it for this place. So for our Z axis. So our Z axis is this rotation of the side rotation. So what do we want here? So it should also be opposite as when it gets to the other side. So let's copy, paste it here, or we invert as mirror over value. So this leg on the ground, that's this leg on the ground. So let's adjust this one a little bit. I think okay, although we're already doing clean up, but we're just trying to do so that it will be highest when this leg is down, then when this one is up. So we have to invert this key. So look at this place. It's highest when the leg is down at this side, and this leg is up. So that's the invert we're trying to do. So scale, I think we have no issue with scale. So let's play an animation now to see how things are going. So looking at this now, let's look at it from front and back. It's looking better, but we can actually say maybe the side to side rotation is too much. That's our Y axis is too much. So we can go to our Y rotation as we press home key. Then you can just since our cursor is at 0, you can just scale. You press your Y, I think. So you reduce it a little bit, so the side to side movement is not too much. We can say it's actually reduced now. But in case it's too much to reduce it, the only thing is just click on it, then you scale it down. That's you press S to scale, then maybe to a particular direction, Y to up and down, then X to side to side. So that's it for this one. So let's make our work circle cyclic now. So you can actually highlight all, then On highlighting all, you can go to this one. We want to make sure we can select all the keys. So you press A here. So after pressing A, you can press Shift E, or you just go to channel. Then you can see Shift E. Then you say make cyclic. Remember, we don't want any key on this one now. We don't want any key like on it. You can just delete all the key, or you just go to your timeline. Then you delete all the keys there. We don't want any key for now. So making cyclic. So look at it now. You can see it's looping very well. So in case we still need to adjust some things, let's start cleaning up. So we can go to our graph editor. Then we check if they are continuous. Make sure this is selected. We only want to see the selected curve. So on clicking X now, you can press on your home because it's actually continuous, so we have no problem with this. So let's check our Y location. To cancel this color, just go to your view, then take the color away. So I think this curve is not looking bad. So, but I don't think it's looking bad. So check our X, press home. So this one also is not looking bad because while we were actually animating, we tried to make sure the curves are actually looking good. So press your home. This one is not looking bad. So home, yeah, this one is not too okay. So we can adjust this one so it favors the passing position. So just let's move it down a little bit. So to make sure the curves is flowing well. So here we can actually increase it a little bit up. So I think it's looking okay now. So going to our leg. So let's make sure there's no penetration on the ground. So let's move to our timeline. So let's step into it one keyframe after the other. I don't think we have any penetration into the ground. So but there's another thing we have to do that we'll fail to do in when we're animating. So we want to make sure that okay, as frame 2, this one is down already because it actually helps us shows width. So you can just Alt R, then make sure it's down. Let's zoom in. So make sure it's down already. So but we can bend the toe to show like a little drag. So start keyframe. So here also we can actually bend it a little bit to show drag. So then I keyframe is selected. Then so on frame 3 we want the toe to be down already. So let's press Alt R. So it's down. So let's do the same for the second leg. So before that, let's move to check if it's not penetrating. You can see a little penetration here. So instead of moving the tool up totally with this control, we can actually just bend the nail, the tool, so that it will not penetrate to the ground. So here you can bend it a little bit. So bend a little bit. Then this also will bend a little bit. Then this a little bit. So so let's go to the second leg, which is this one. Starts from frame 1. So check. So there's a little. So let's bend it here a little bit. Then here, let's bend it here a little bit. Sorry, we actually messing with the wrong control. So let's go back to our frame 4. Then this, let's bend it a little bit to avoid penetration. So yeah, a little bit also. So we can see this leg is flying well. So going back to this, we want it to remember, I want it to be down already. So let's press Alt R. then you move it down, then you move to the next key. Sorry, here we want to drag the tool, so you, sorry, want to drag it, so you rotate on the x-axis up a little bit. So moving here, let us rotate so it shows a little drag and not too much. So then here we want it to be down already, that's Alt R, then 16. So if we play now, we can see, look, if when you look at the leg, you can notice there are some drag on the toe. So after this now, look at the front and side view. So after that, what is next now? So let's go back in case we need to adjust some controls here. So on the X location, home. So I think it's looking good. On our Y, home. So Y, our Y is up. So I think this one also is looking good. There's no problem with it. So on our Z axis, so in case when you want your character to move forward, there are some things you're supposed to do here. So you're supposed to make sure it's totally linear, so so that you avoid some sliding when the food is on the ground. So from this frame, that's from frame 1 to frame let's move to our side view. That's to frame 17. Let's say 17. That's frame 17. We notice this one should be totally down. So let's delete this key, pick this, then let's pick undertype to be free, and select this, hold your shift, then make this one that's use vector, so that it makes this one to be totally flat on the ground, so it doesn't move back when you decide to actually move your controls forward. So let's I think this one is okay. So for your X rotation, home, X rotation. So let's check the front view. X rotation. We can actually maybe bend it a little bit. I do that on the y-axis. So, but I think the X is doing fine. There's no problem with that. So when you step through, that's your X rotation. I think it's fine. So your Y rotation, which is the one we actually adjusted here, that's since you're moving it here, remember you have to move it here because it's cyclic. So you can just copy this value, Control C, then Control paste. So it's loop back and forth to adjust any problem. So looking at this also, I think this one too is not having problem. So our frame, that's our Z rotation. Now zoom in. So looking at this now, this must be same with this to avoid any form of bad movement. So that's it for this one. So which other one? I think we have the issue with scaling. So there's no issue with scaling. I think that's it for this leg. And for the other leg also, for the X rotation, I think this one is looking cool. Then for Y, let's press O. We having an issue? I don't think so. I think they're doing fine. So our Y rotation. So here, okay, this Y. Remember when it's moving, when it's totally on the ground, you want to make sure that okay, it's not sliding, especially when you're moving forward. So here you can actually just change, convert this onto to vector, so it's totally straight here. Then for here, I think starting from 13 to frame 25, I think it should be totally linear also. So you can just click and delete, then select this one, then use free, then click on this, press the shift down, and click on this also, then you right click, then you pick vector. You can actually make use of your interpolation mode, then you pick linear, but vector also help you to straighten the line. So looking at this now, so checking this one out from here, you note that on 4, so here to make it smooth, you can just decide to so that it won't be harsh, you can just decide to bend it a little bit. So I'm checking this one out, check the movement. So so after this one now, we can now check our nail pop to see if we have any nail pop. So if you check our front view, I think it's actually looking okay. Then our side view, our, our side view. So in case for we have any nail pop, we can now go to our timeline. Then so there are ways we can actually fix nail pops. Major thing that they cause nail pop, try to check your spacing, the leg spacing, if it's not even. So like okay, for this one now, we can just check our as the motion part. So make sure you check your spacing. If the spacing is not even, then you tend to have problem with your animation, like a lot of problem. So looking at this now, are we having any form of knee pop? So are we having any knee pop here? I'm trying to look at it very well. So is there any knee pop? I don't think so. So check your nipple, but most the way you can actually use to check your nipple, you can actually make use of your hip as your hip translation. As you, when maybe if your leg is too stretched, then you move up or down. And if not, there's another way. Check the spacing of your leg. If the spacing is too much, when you have like uneven spacing, you may actually fall into a lot of problem. So you may actually fall into a lot of, make sure your spacing is quite good. Check your motion parts to check the spacing out. So uh, I think that should be all. So for you to play blast your animation, you can actually let's go to our settings, that's render settings. So that's our output. Sorry. So our resolution is just choose any resolution. Make sure your frame rate is at 24 frames per second because it may play faster. Make sure it's at 24 frames per second. Then choose the location. Then I would like to just make this on a video, not a picture. So then you encode in Metroscar, anyone you want. So then after this, you can just go to your view. Then you can even hide all these ones. Then you go to your view and you go to viewport render animation. So it will render from 1 to 25. Then you go to your render, then view animation. So these are animation. Now these are our work circle. So to for you to make a progressive work circle, now let me just teach you before we round up the lesson. So for this place, you can just go. Okay, let's set a keyframe on frame one. So there's a way. The way you do it is, uh, you instead of moving this one to displace the amount of time this one is actually sliding. So you can just click on your on your. So let's move to our side view. So which leg are we going to use? So let's just use this leg at the front. So it's you check. So for this front leg now, for this leg, you check when it's totally front and when it has totally moved back and it's about to move to start moving forward. So to frame 17, it's still moving forward. Then from 18, start moving forward. So from on frame 17, this is how you do it. You check your so this is the front. This is the one moving forward. That's our z axis. So you copy this value, then you get your calculator. I actually got this one from Ketlango. Check the free tutorials. Actually, I did a tutorial on it, so you can actually get some free tutorials online. So I'll paste it. Then you move to frame 17. Then you copy the value, just leaving the negative. You copy it. Then you go to your calculator. Then you paste. You click plus. Then edit. Then you paste it. Then equal. Then you just copy this value. Then you go to frame 17. Then you click on your root control. Then then you check the one moving forward, which is your Z, right? This is your Z axis. So you go to your Z, then you paste this value here, then set a keyframe. So when you do this now, you see that okay, it's still sliding backward. You have to make sure that it's in linear. So you go to your graph editor, click on this, then you check your Z, that's your Z translation. So when you look at this now, it's actually slowing down, then pasting, then slowing also. So you can just click on, then you pick vector. So then to make this one cyclic, you go to your channel or you just press Shift E, then you use linear. That's linear interpolation. So we can now increase. Let's go back to our timeline. Then you can now increase this to anyone. It will continue to loop to infinity. Then you check your leg if it's sliding. So we can see it's not sliding. So you can see your foot is not sliding. It's actually staying put on the ground. So with this, after this tutorial, I'll actually talk about teach how to animate rain work circle. So I don't know, and in case if anybody have problem with the nail pop, you can actually call me, and you can contact me on my channel. Then I'll show you some ways I actually know, and maybe refer you to some tutorials on how you can actually fix your nail pop. So with this one, I think I come to the end of this tutorial. Thank you for watching. Bye.